Hey Scrubs, this is Retro, and this is going to be Sim Settlements 2 video about the agricultural and industrial plot types, how they function, and how they fit into your overall Sim Settlements 2 experience, as well as how to unlock them. And after that we'll be discussing and looking at the virtual storage system that comes along with Sim Settlements 2. Before we get into this video, I'd just like to say that the last Sim Settlements 2 video I put out did amazingly well. It's had over 500 views and 30 likes. However, only 5% of the people that watched that video are actually subscribed. So if you enjoy this Sim Settlements 2 video, please consider leaving a like, maybe a comment, and a subscribe. Let's get on with it. In the last Sim Settlements 2 video on the channel, I showed you guys how to get started, where to find the ASAM sensors, how to meet the stranger, and how to begin that questline overall. Each plot in Sim Settlements 2 will have its own needs and requirements. For example, the most basic farming ASAM plot type, the Tato Mud Farm by Kingath, only requires 1 water and it produces 10 food. Now, on top of requiring 1 water, it also requires 1 settler to run it. As the farms get bigger, as the buildings get bigger, they'll require more resources and more settlers. So if we have a look at this bigger farm plot that I have, this bigger agricultural plot, the large Mutfruit Field by Ruined World is a basic farm type at level 1. It can have up to 3 settlers work on it. It requires 3 water, and its basic food production is 16 food. Now looking at this, why would you choose to have a larger farm that makes just slightly more food and requires 3 people over a farm that is smaller and only requires 1 person, basically makes 2/3 of the amount that the large farm makes? The answer would be that, I'm assuming, as this farm levels up, this large 3-person farm on a 3x3 plot, it will over time exponentially increase its food production, and it will create a lot more food than a level 3 1-person agricultural building. Now, the initial gathering industrial buildings might have some minor variation in needs, but they've got very basic requirements at level 1, mostly power and defense. Keep this in mind, as if it requires 1 unit of power instead of just access to power, you need to be wary of how much power your settlement is consuming overall. They are going to be collector industrial plots. So what I mean by that is they will gather building materials for your settlement and go straight into the virtual storage system of your settlement. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Finally, in regard to industrial plots, these are only the initial plot types available when you first start the Sim Settlements 2 questline. If you have used the City Manager holotape to unlock all building types, then obviously there'll be a lot more available than just the 4 or 5 that you have when you first start the industrial building section of Sim Settlements 2. So, you have plots that are gathering resources. Where do the resources go? I've said virtual storage. Let's have a look at that now. In Fallout 4, each individual settlement has its own virtual storage. This storage is a pool of resources that settlers will pull items from, or resources from, to build, maintain, and upgrade their plots. The key difference between the virtual storage and the settlements workshop is that you can never access resources that you put into the virtual storage. So once you put it into the virtual storage, that's it. It now belongs to that settlement, and they will use it to upgrade, maintain, and build their buildings. However, be aware that this is offset by the fact that a lot of your early industrial buildings will provide a lot of scrap, which is basically just a way to say all the different components that go into your stockpile in your virtual storage. Now, if you are in the settlement yourself, then the virtual storage can pull items out of the workbench. If you aren't in the settlement, then it can't pull items from the workbench. If there aren't enough pieces of scrap in the virtual storage, then the building will not be complete, it will not maintain, or it will not be upgraded. Now, there are varying categories for scrap, each corresponding to different things in the game. So for example, you have building materials, machine parts, organic materials, and rare materials. The majority of your early industrial buildings will provide scrap in the form of building materials. However, There are also early industrial buildings that are collectors, which basically function as scav stations, and they'll collect small resources, small quantities of the other scrap category types, okay? Now, building materials can be anything from aluminium cans, concrete, glass, steel, and wood. Machine parts would be circuitry, copper, gears, lead, plastic, rubber, screws, springs, things like that. Organic materials would be things like bones, acid, ceramics, adhesive, cloth, cork, fertilizer, and oil. Rare materials would be antiseptic, ballistic fiber, crystal, fiber optics, gold, and nuclear material. So, how can you as the player transfer items from your workbench or that you've collected out in the world and give it to your virtual storage in your settlement to help them increase and maintain buildings or upgrade them? It's simple. You need to put a city planner's desk down. Once the desk is down, there'll be a little safe on the side that says donate supplies. You can choose to donate in bulk from your workbench, and any items that it can't utilize will be returned to the workbench. You can also choose to donate from your own inventory. This is a great way early on to add in some of those complex components that the level 1 industrial scavenger buildings will not be able to find in big quantities. Now, there is a set number of scrap that can actually be stored in your settlement. This increases with industrial buildings that add storage size, but it can also be increased manually by you placing down these very helpful resource storage containers. They come in 3 sizes. Now, the small junk crate adds 100 extra storage to your settlement and is very cheap to build at only 10 wood. The large crate is 18 steel. However, it adds 500 storage to your settlement's virtual storage. And the shipping container is the most expensive at 30 steel. However, building one of these will add you a whopping 1,000 virtual storage space to your settlement. So keep this in mind, but also remember that they do take up a lot of space the bigger you go. So guys, if you like this video, consider leaving me a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get the channel to 500 subs. Also subscribe to me or follow to me over on Twitch. That'd be very helpful in helping the channel out and continuing to grow. If this video does ludicrously well as the last one, then the next Sim Settlements 2 video I'd like to look at would be advanced plot types, unlocking new plots within the quest line, and also the augmented HUD that comes along with this. I think that's a great tool. They've done a really good job with that. Thank you, Kingath. So that's it from me. Peace.